Look at those speed babies flying across the racetrack. The roar of the engines, the smell of burned rubber. Yes, friend, we are back. Stories from motorsports. Learn about the drivers, learn about the humor. Stories from motorsports. With your host Doug Kenny, learn about the funny moments from behind the wheel. Stories from motorsports. Stories from motorsports. Learn about the cars, learn about racing, and hopefully you will be inspired to get into racing or attend a race in the future. Stories from motorsports with Douglas Kenny and Josh May. Oh!
Yeah.
I remember going out to a race a while ago with a friend, and I saw Ken Schrader race after one of those dirt track races, and I remember he got behind the wheel of the car, and I knew it was him because of his 52 and Federated sponsor, that's been with him for so
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
So he ran the 20 lap race, and by the time he got out of the car, he was having one of his moments. And I remember hearing on the intercom him saying, "It looks like it's time for some of these people to go back to figure eight racing on one of those buses."
He was upset. Yeah.
Yeah. In fairness, I did understand his reasoning for being upset because it took him like 16 laps to get right next to someone and make a pass
Yeah.
successfully. And so since it was like a 20 lap race, I believe I remember he was very frustrated about what he
Oh yeah.
perceived as a lack of respect. And then at another race that I attended where I saw him compete in one of his dirt races, which was at a track in Phoenix, I believe. Well, not I believe it was in Phoenix. Well, it was like a couple weeks after the SRX race where he and Paul Tracy raced each other, and he was asked by a fan from my viewpoint. I got a glimpse of a fan asking him, are you ever gonna race SRX again? And he said, as long as Paul Tracy's not in the field, I will. Do you remember hearing about that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Paul Tracy, he was the bully of that thing. He played it well. That was kind of entertaining, not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah, I learned from that race that Tracy is pretty mercurial when it comes to being behind the wheel. You either
Mm,
like him or you hate him.
yep.
I encountered Paul at the airport earlier that year before a trip to Washington and got a photo with him and a handshake and got to ask him a bit about his racing career, which he was polite enough to make the time to do so while I was preparing for an airplane to fly off. And then
Mhm.
then I heard about him being suspended from SRX for, all the crashes he was getting into. And they didn't seem to be on purpose with me, but I remember a lot of drivers were really angry when that was going on, including Ken Schrader. And then
Yeah.
and it was like the race before the one where Schrader and him tangled. I remember Schrader was like, actually, Paul did it. He didn't run into the back of me until this certain turn, but whatever, or something along those lines. And that's when I was realizing, okay, their patience for Paul is starting to wear thin. And then it was that race where Schrader said, as long as Paul Tracy's racing, I'm not racing in this series. And then hearing Kyle Busch and other drivers speak out, it was like, okay, I have a feeling what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
then it was that week that that the announcement was made, and then it was 2 weeks later after that final race
Mhm.
of XRX that I saw Ken race and tell that fan that. Yeah,
Sad
so
that they couldn't make that series last longer.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing because I thought it was a good series and I was hoping to go to a race, but it folded and then, you know. But the good news is I've seen some more races over the past several months, including monster trucks, and I saw figure eight racing for the first time and had an understanding of what Ken's remark was referring to.
Oh, wow, baby, look at those speed babies flying across the racetrack. The roar of the engines, the smell of burned rubber. Yes, friend, we are back. Stories from motorsports. Learn about the drivers, learn about the humor. Stories from motorsports. With your host Doug Kenny, learn about the funny moments from behind the wheel. Stories from motorsports. Stories from motorsports. Learn about the cars, learn about racing, and hopefully you will be inspired to get into racing or attend a race in the future. Stories from motorsports with Douglas Kenny